Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Couch Coaches, where we take what's going on in the world of sports and give it a realistic perspective because we've able to take it all in from the couch. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our sponsor, which is Nobody. So if you would like to sponsor this podcast, please reach out. I'll have my contact information in the show notes. So big week, obviously, this week. We wrapped up the regular season. A couple surprises. Obviously, the Packers-Detroit game was a wild ending to the season for the Packers. Again, they've had a kind of a crazy ending the last 4 years. But the situation that I want to start out with is the Arizona Cardinals. So they fired their coach. They kind of fired their GM. Sounds like he's kind of stepping away for personal reasons or health reasons or something. And then they're doubling down. So they're doubling down on Kyler. And then they're talking about releasing Hopkins. So, Brother Bill, I'm going to have you go first. Just kind of give me your overall thoughts about Kyler as a quarterback, how you would be feeling if you were a Cardinals fan. Please.
Yeah, so as a quarterback, I was just surprised on how different he seemed to play this year compared to last year when they, had a better record. And if memory serves, I think they even, swept. I think 2 years ago they swept, the Niners, right? And so he looked better. It seems like he's regressed over 2 years. What I don't know is part of that because of the people around him? Is it the play calling? The times that because I've only seen him play when he's played the 49ers, which is only 2 games a year. So the last 6 games, it just seems like he's regressed. But what I don't know is that him or, like I said, something else going on. I mean, it felt that he was a good quarterback, and he always gave the 49ers trouble because of his mobility. So that's the part that was surprising to me.
Deacon Greg.
Yeah, I think a little bit of his regression is because he did lose his number one receiver. DeAndre Hopkins went down early in the season, and that kind of threw everything, the passing game out of whack. He makes more plays with his legs. He's more of a runner. And just looking at him, and we're talking about what the Cardinals are planning for the future. I was hearing where they're going to involve him in the new coach's search and stuff. They're going to seek his advice on that. And, I was watching that play when he actually went down and tore his ACL. It was a non-contact injury. He's running around the sweep on the side. And just kind of, I thought it was a turf or something that caught him up and got him hurt. But I wouldn't put all my eggs in his basket. I'd say that.
So then let me ask you guys this. If he was your quarterback, would you like what the team is doing with him?
No. I think from a play calling standpoint, quarterbacks who are mobile, I believe that they set up the team best offensively when they can still pass the ball. I mean, give it to someone else who's set up to move the ball. Running back, tight end, receivers. That's what they're paid for by the team, to design more plays that are necessary for a quarterback so he can run. I think 2 things. Number one, it sets him up to get hurt. And sure, it can happen in you play, but that's what a running back is for. They run, right? That's what receivers do. They catch the ball. So set up a quarterback to pass the ball, right? Or hand off the ball, whatever they're going to do. And if they have to be mobile to navigate the pocket, escape trouble, then that's just a bonus.
So you don't like it because he does run too much.
Well, I think it limits the offense because Patrick Mahomes is a good example. Last time I checked, I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs calling plays for Patrick to run. His mobility and his escapability is a bonus for the offense because he keeps plays alive. But they aren't having him run around.
Right. But he's also, and granted, Patrick Mahomes is not one of the taller quarterbacks, but Kyler Murray's like 5'9", like 5'10". He's a little dude. Like, he can't look over anybody on, he probably can't see the entire middle of the field. Like, I know Russ has an issue with that.
Right. Yeah.
I almost feel like him running around. I almost feel like he has to, because he's so accurate. He's got such a strong arm, which is surprising from this little dude. But I don't know how he sees what's going on in the middle of the field if he doesn't kind of navigate out.
Well, remember a guy named Doug Flutie?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right. I bring him up because he was one of the Hill was shaking his head, right? But he was one of the shortest, not the shortest quarterback in a long time, right? They
yeah.
barely have him running around, right? I mean, yes, it could be kind of challenging for him, like you said, see over the line and so forth. But he passed the ball when he had to. And I think that's when it comes on the offensive coordinator, whoever calling plays, to call the plays that best suit that quarterback at getting rid of the ball.
Yeah.
And that was their intentions. That's why they brought in his college coach. The coach that they just fired was his coach from college. And that was the success that he had in college by moving that offense, moving that pocket around and stuff. I kind of agree with Joe that, I mean, he's 5'9", 5'10". He ain't gonna be standing in that pocket throwing that ball. They designed that offense for him. That's the offense that he had in college. That he was to move him around, and he killed my Raiders with his legs. So that's one of his strong points. But he's not as big as a Lamar Jackson to be able to take a few more of those hits a little bit. So that's why I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, because I think he's a little too small to last too long in the NFL with the type of style that he plays.
So taking in the Rams game, the playoff game last year, where he just looked like he just didn't want to play, and he wasn't running at all. The wanting the new contract early, a big fat contract, them having to put in and then take out the video game clause, and then the way he played this year, like if you were a Cardinals fan, or I mean, even as a Niners fan and a Raiders fan, would you want him to be your franchise quarterback for your team?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't see how you, and that's what's so shocking to me about. I mean, granted, do I think Cliff Kingsbury is a good coach? Not really. He didn't win in college. Like, why would he win in the pros? But when they beat us last year and he had Colt McCoy and that offense looked like it was running smoothly. Right. I don't know. I'm sure the tension between the coach and obviously the player gets more power if he's making $40+ million a year. And I'm sure the power dynamics shifted a lot this season, but I can't have that guy, like basically like the CEO of my team, be Kyler Murray. Like he's just his like his I almost said a bad word. Just like his facial expressions and stuff, and in the pouting and the this and the man, he's just the dude to me. And I know he's a phenomenal athlete. Maybe he's a great guy. I don't know, but just as far as like a leader, it'd be hard to kind of wrap my heads around like a dude that acts like that.
Right, and I'm glad you said leader, because I think one of the characteristics of a average, the great quarterback, I believe, that I've heard, is how he makes the team better, sets the team up to succeed. And you can be athletic, but he's just one person. What does he do to help the rest of his team be successful? What does he do to lead his team in good times and in bad times?
Yeah, and most importantly in the bad times, because I look at a guy like if I'm comparing the two because they're about the same age, and I know Lamar's going for a contract, but if I had to pick between Lamar and Kyler, I think Kyler is a better like thrower of the football than Lamar. Lamar is a dude I would want on my team. He gets better every year. He's his head's in the book. He's studying. He wants that guaranteed contract. The stupid Browns completely messed all that up with their giving their contract to Watson. But I would want my dude to be like Lamar. Lamar would be the at least the personality type, the type of dude I'd want running my offense.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't know about that. You said a better throw of the ball. I look at the way the ball leaves and the trajectory of the ball. Kyler's ball, because he's so short, it got to go up in the air, and then it got to come down. That don't, to me, it doesn't work that well for an NFL, prolific passer. That ball has to be more on a line, and at least Lamar, his accuracy, he has some issues with his accuracy, but his ball is more on a line once he gets it together. So I would project him to be a better passer in the long run than Kyler. Kyler's ball I can't get with that arc ball going up and down.
But that's Russ. I mean, that's kind of Russ made his money off of those floating. I mean, granted, it's not working out now at all, but he kind of made his money off of these long rainbow throws, and he's a little dude too.
Yeah,
little for NFL. I mean,
right.
Okay. So let's get into these games. I'm just gonna read off the games, and you guys tell me who you think is gonna win, and if there's any questioning about who's winning or anything you want to add to it, let me know. I think this first one's pretty easy. Seattle at San Francisco.
San Francisco, but I don't know if they'll cover the point spread. I know you don't ask about points, but I'm just saying.
It's at like 9.5 right now.
It started at 10. That's just for the bookies to get action on both sides. 49ers.
Yeah, Deacon.
I would agree. I'd say the Niners should win that one.
Yeah, my only concern is that I have no concerns. I know this is NFL football. These are pro football players, but it's like, Pete's no dummy. I mean, and I go, it's Geno Smith and it's Pete Carroll, and they were supposed to win like 2 games this year, and they've done a phenomenal job of getting the team. But it's like, I saw some stat that they ran the other day that before the Packers game, that if we were to face Seattle, we had like an 80% chance of winning.
Right.
Like in my head, I go, it should be higher, but then I go, is that a problem that I'm so confident that we're gonna stomp them? I was super confident about the Raiders, and that game was way different than I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna stomp you guys, and then we're like in overtime. I'm like, what is happening right now?
And to be honest, and I believe that the Raiders game was a blessing in disguise, because we'll find out, right, is if it made the team refocus and reminded them how, again, every team has a weakness, right? And the Raiders exposed the 49ers' weakness of their secondary. And I would expect Seattle to do the same thing. I just believe the difference will be, I think the weather could be the variable to keep the game close, especially if it's raining, because a wet ball can lead to turnovers. And so I think if that can go both ways, of course, but I just believe that because they're division rivals and they know each other, there's no surprises. I won't be surprised if it's a close game.
Yeah.
I don't think the Niners have too many weapons. I mean, the running game and they got Debo back, and they just got too many weapons. The defense is a top-notch defense. I don't see Seattle hanging with them. And then it's a home game also. I think Bill might even be in the stands. I don't know.
I'll be there. I'll look for you. I mean, you can look for me. You can look for me.
So yeah, I think the Niners just got too much going for them. But I don't see how you guys thought the Niners were just going to blow out the Raiders. Even though we're not in Oakland anymore, that's still Battle of the Bay. He's gonna blow us out.
Oh yeah, well, and also that was the game that you had to win to stay alive for playoff contention too.
Right.
And you guys played. I mean, you got it was played like a playoff game. It was a good game, just too close. Okay, next game, the LA Chargers at Jacksonville.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers can. They've been an up and down team all year, but seem like they're starting to trend in the right direction. They're getting themselves together. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
And I will say, so the wide receiver Williams tweaked something at the last game when they were playing in a game that means nothing for some reason. I don't know. And I guess Bosa kind of tweaked something too. So I don't know. That could be something to look out for. Brother Bill, who do you think?
The Chargers, because Jacksonville, although they won their division, weak division, fought and clawed just to get in, beat Houston. I think matchups wise, San Diego's defense matches up better against Jacksonville's offense. And again, I'm a defensive guy when it comes to playoffs, and I just believe that the better defenses tend to win the game when all of the things being equal. So I would pick the Chargers on that one.
I'm gonna go Jacksonville only because I think the Chargers coach sucks, and I want him to get fired, and I want them to get Peyton because I don't want them to waste Herbert. Herbert is too good of a quarterback. We can't have Luck and Herbert like in the same decade. You just completely tank this awesome quarterback because the leadership is garbage.
Who's the coach?
The old DC for the Rams. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, okay.
But he's the guy that's going on fourth down, and he's like on his own 15 and 20.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah.
He's playing his players when it's a meaningless
He's not doing
game.
that anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on Saturday. Okay, Miami at Buffalo.
Bills.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's no Tua, and it's good. And I can't imagine how on fire that place is going to be. And that kickoff return reminded me of when the Saints reopened the Mercedes Benz, whatever it is.
After
and the dude, oh my god, it's just, and the block punt and that had that same vibe to it. I think, and it's something that we addressed last week. I think the energy from Buffalo, dude's home, dude's back in Buffalo, dude's out of the hospital, he's still doing the rehab stuff. I think they're going to be on fire, and I think Miami's like 75 degrees right now, so Buffalo's going to feel horrific, even though they were just there. I don't see how Buffalo. I mean, with no Tua, when they're on like their third string quarterback, I don't see how Miami even has a shot.
Could Buffalo be overconfident though? That's the question.
It's like it could be something similar to like the Niners.
Right.
Like I'm sure we're going. I can't even think of how we could possibly lose unless we just don't show up. So this is one that I've been seeing getting more kind of back and forth. It's more 50-50. The Giants at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Giants, because it's Minnesota. At some point, your luck has to run out on you in these close games. And sure, Minnesota's been able to win them, and they figure out how to win them. Who do you trust, Daniel Jones or the quarterback for the Vikings?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
Neither
one of them.
Who do you trust? I mean, who do you trust more? Right.
So for me, I would go Minnesota only because Minnesota's at home and Giants play close. That's the only reason. If this was in New York, I'd be Giants 100%.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Minnesota also. Is the Giants running back? I know he was out last week. Barkley, is he supposed to be playing?
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
They were only doing that to rest players.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Giants rested last week. I think it's going to be closer than it should, but I mean Minnesota losing at home, and the Giants I think are a better coached team than they are a good team, and I think it will be a little bit closer, but I can't see at home.
Yeah.
And then the game that we just saw last weekend, Baltimore at Cincinnati, and it looks like I think they said Lamar's not playing.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. I think
Cincinnati. You can call the game at halftime.
Yeah. It was closer that last week than you. I mean, their defense can still get after Burrow, and I think they lost 2 of their offensive linemen, so their running game is a little weak. So I think they're a little more one dimensional. But man, those wide receivers are legit. And then the one that I can't wait for this game because Tom Brady is 7-0 in his career against the Cowboys. It is Dallas at Tampa. Who do you got?
Dallas. Dallas. Let me elaborate just a little bit.
Please.
Okay.
Dallas is they're desperate right now. I mean, if they don't win this game, a lot of heads are going to roll.
Just one big one.
A lot of heads are going to roll. So I think Dallas will dig down deep and pull this game out.
At Tampa Bay, Tom Brady can't. I'm not as much as I think Dak Prescott is talented. If you look at his playoff record, he's won 1 game in the playoffs. 1. And that's against different defenses. He's good for a turnover a game, possibly 2 in the playoffs. And Brady's record against Dallas, albeit that was when he was with the Patriots, so a different team. I just like Tampa Bay at home. Even as talented as Dallas is on defense, I don't trust Dak in the playoffs.
Yeah. So I don't trust Dak in big positions. I don't trust McCarthy in big positions, but they got murdered last week by the Redskins. And there's always that shift, kind of in the same way, kind of the like the Raiders game where they showed some weaknesses that we had that we need to work on. I think the Redskins showed all their weaknesses on offense, and they're going to readjust for that. And Tampa, I go, okay, Todd Bowles is a fantastic defensive coordinator. Brady's obviously one of, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. The limited running game, but they still have big man
Leonard Fournette is healthy, right?
And their wide receivers are still, but they have been so bad this year.
Yeah.
And then they're terrible for 3.5 quarters, and then Brady just goes bloop 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 down the field, and then they score when they win the game. So I feel like Tampa on paper should win, but from what I've seen this year, I can't. If Dallas loses this game, it's pathetic.
When they lose,
and I'll love it. I will love it. I will love every single second of it. But, and I'm gonna call. There's people at church. Oh man, there's people at church. I will be texting my face off Monday night. But I can't. If Dallas loses, it's pathetic.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what game are you most excited for?
Niners Seahawks.
Besides Niners Seahawks.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that Dallas Tampa game, I think that's going to be very intriguing to see the outcome of that game.
For sure.
I'm interested in the Minnesota Giants game because I believe the Niners, the easiest path for the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl is if they don't have to play Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I believe that
they
can, even if they had to, they won't have to play Minnesota at home because they're the 2 seed. So I just believe that if the Giants can pull the upset, that gets Minnesota, then they would go to Philadelphia in the divisional round,
which would be a very interesting game, a third game this season.
Exactly.
Against a team who's got some injuries, and that game was a lot closer than that last game. I mean, considering they rested all their starters, they still could have won that game last weekend.
Yeah, and the other reason why I like why I'm most interested in that game is, again, the Giants pull the upset. They go to Philadelphia, the divisional round. The 49ers would then play the winner of the Tampa Bay Dallas game.
Yeah, and we already saw what we did to Tampa Bay, and I would, to kick Dallas out of the playoffs would be
again.
I'm still hurting. I'm still hurting from the early 90s, I'm like the mid 90s. That's still getting knocked out by Dallas. Nightmare. Did you guys watch the national championship game last night?
I turned it off at halftime.
I watched the first quarter.
Terrible. It was horrible. I went, how did Michigan lose to these guys? And how was Ohio State so close? Like the whole, when they expand it to 12 teams, you're going to see the SEC is going to manhandle that whole tournament when they bring it out. I think USC is going to have a good shot, just because I think they can attract people, and I think Texas is going over there anyway. So eventually Texas will be with Manning and stuff. I think they're going to get a lot of recruits, and then somebody's going to get Texas. If Texas loses and they get rid of Sarkisian, they're going to go for what's his name? They're going for the dude that got fired from Jacksonville.
Oh,
Ohio State, Florida. I'm totally blanking on his name.
Used to be the coach of Florida.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, they're gonna.
They don't want him. They don't want him.
They want to win. They want to win, man. They're paying all that NIL money. They want to win.
I was thinking that Michigan, they used all their emotions and everything to beat Ohio State, and they had nothing left. And I think what is it? TCU. I think they did the same thing when they played Michigan. They laid it all on the field, and that they just couldn't get up again for Georgia.
Yeah, man, it looked like Georgia was playing De Anza during that game. That was,
they had a month. But they had a month to prepare.
Yeah.
I just think when they say styles make fights, the the style that Georgia plays and their defense, TCU did have an answer for how to move down the field against that defense. I think that's what was surprising, and I was both shocked and disappointed that Michigan didn't beat them. That game was so close, because I just felt that Michigan's defense, even though because their offense wasn't explosive, we knew that. But TCU did what they were supposed to do, and they forced who's the quarterback for Michigan? They JJ, whatever his last name, they forced him to beat them, and he couldn't because he turned it over twice, at least twice. So.
Yeah. I'm all for that the playoff expanding, but there's gonna be some ugly games. But as long as and I feel like we got spoiled because like the two semifinal games were so good and so close that this just, I mean, it was like a joke game. It was terrible.
What was the final score? 65 to 7?
62 to 7.
Was
63?
I thought it was 65-7. Was it 62?
I thought it was
62?
I stopped counting at halftime, and I thought that's what I was doing.
I was sitting looking at the score going, how did TCU, like I'm watching TCU, I'm like, how did they score 7 points?
Right.
Like, how was it even that close? They look so bad.
Well, I thought it was going to be a shootout because they came right back and scored. So I said, okay, this is going to be a game.
And
but
then
that was it.
Nothing. All right, guys, we are out of time. Thank you very much. Big weekend this weekend. We'll have a lot of playoffs to talk about next week, but thank you very much and take care.
All righty.
Take care. Go Niners.
Yeah.
Raiders, we'll be back
next year.